Abigail, listen to this. I've become pregnant!
Congratulations, Nora. So when are you expecting to have the baby?
Fall this year is what the doctor was saying. So around that time, I'm thinking of coming back home to Mom and Dad's house to have the baby.
Now that you mention it, your husband tends to go on a lot of business trips, right? I'm sure being back home with the family will make both you and your husband a lot more comfortable when you're close to having the baby.
That's what we were thinking. So, for the sake of having me back home, would you mind leaving the house and making room for me? I would really like to be back at the parents' house without being all too stressed about anything.
What?
You happen to work at the hospital right now, correct?
That's right, but not as a nurse or anything. I just work in the office and at the front desk.
But as someone who is working at the front desk a lot of the time, you see the most sick people, right? You have to be in contact with all those sick and unhealthy people every single day, right? I wouldn't want to come back to a house where some dirty person who works with all those sick people is living.
Dirty person?
That's right. You seem like a really dirty person to me. Your whole body is probably covered in all kinds of germs, right?
My whole body?
This will be my first time having a baby, so I'm a bit worried about all those germs you have. And ever since I was a little girl, I've always been able to get sick really easily. So I really don't want to be around those that don't take care of themselves well enough. If there were ever to be something bad that happened to myself or my baby because of you, would you really be able to take responsibility for all of that? I'm sure you wouldn't want that on your shoulders, right?
I happen to work in the offices primarily, so I don't see all too many of sick patients. On the off chance I did come into contact with something bad, I make sure to clean my hands and face very thoroughly every day. There's also never been a moment where I've come home and gotten others sick due to a virus from work. So asking me to leave the house because I work in the hospital is a bit...
Huh? I'm not asking for your opinion on this. I'm just worried about having you in the house in general, and that gets me stressed out. If the pregnant woman is asking you to get out of the house, then your only choice is to leave.
Come on now, Nora.
You have been living with my parents this whole time, right? I'm sure that means you've been able to save up loads of money, considering you don't have to pay to stay with them. So you can use that money to get yourself a place and be out of their house. Now get to it and start gathering your things in order to get out before I arrive.
Excuse me, Hazel. I have something to ask you about Nora. You heard about how she's pregnant now, right?
Ah, this is perfect timing, Abigail. I was just on the phone with Nora a second ago, talking with her about how she's wanting to come back to the house. I was just wondering if you'd be on board with something like this. I'm sorry to ask you this, but would it be all right if she came home and had her baby here?
I don't mind something like that at all. This happens to be her parents' house after all, so she has a right to come back here. But before she comes back here, is it really okay for me to leave this house? I'm thinking that before she comes back here to have her baby, it would be best if I stopped living with you.
What? Why would you say something like that all of a sudden?
Actually, it seems that Nora is a bit upset about the kind of work that I do. I was just texting her a little bit ago about all of this. She seems to think that because I work for the hospital, I'm covered in all sorts of germs, and that's not making her feel safe. Because of that, she asked that I leave the house so that she could come home and not be worried.
Excuse me?
As of right now, I'd like to do as she's asked, considering she's the pregnant one here. So I'm just gonna stay quiet and leave this house for good, if that's all right with you.
You can't do something as sad as that. There's no reason for you to leave the house.
But in all honesty, the plan was only for me to stay here with you this year, right? The only reason I was requested to come and live with you is because your husband had that bad fall and you needed help around the house while he was being cared for. So we agreed that I'd stay for a year or until things started to settle down for you.
That's true.
And well, your husband ended up recovering a lot faster than we were expecting, right? He's doing so well that he no longer needs to go to the hospital or be cared for. I feel as though you both don't really need my help anymore, so this would be a perfect opportunity for my husband and I to leave now.
I understand all of that, but I don't want you guys to leave. We'd be lonely without you here. Of course, you helped us out quite a lot while living in our house with us, but I found that you were very fun and relaxing to have living here.
And this was all fun for me as well. Deep down, I was really hoping to continue living with you guys forever in this house.
What? Is that so?
But as of right now, Nora's the one who needs to be taken care of the most.
I get that, but you don't have to leave the house just because she's asking you to. Who cares that she's asking you to leave because you work at the hospital? I mean, if you've enjoyed living in our house as well, then there's really no reason you should have to leave. We have plenty of rooms in this house, so please stay with us some more. I want both you and our son to continue living here, please.
What? Are you sure that that's all right with you?
Of course. I'll talk with Nora about all of this. I'm sure she's just a bit too nervous at the moment since it's her first time being pregnant. So as long as all of this is fine with you, then you are more than welcome to keep living in our house.
Thank you so much, Hazel.
You've done a great job of making my mom join your team. I had to hear from my mom that she doesn't want you and my brother out of the house. What the hell do you have against me, Abigail? I guess I can't trust you anymore, can I?
What?
I'm sure you told my mom to say no to kicking you out of the house, right? Perhaps you bribed her in some way? I never thought that a woman in your position would do something so crazy.
Wait a second, please. What is going on right now?
Huh?
I'm sure you're upset right now because I'm not having to leave your parents' house, right? I already tried telling your mom about how we'd be leaving the house and the reasons for that. But she was the one that told us to stay. I never bribed her or anything like that to let us stay at the house any longer.
Then you must have been screaming and crying for her to say no to what I was asking until she finally gave in. Damn, I really hate myself for this. I never thought you'd turn out to be such a thorn in my back, Abigail. Although for the longest time now, I knew there was something off about you. The moment my dad needed help at home, both you and my brother barged into their house and set up camp there. I'm sure you're both there so that you can get all their money in the house from them when they pass away, right? I guess my hunch was right then, and there really has been something off about you.
Would you stop saying such crazy things like that about us? You also happen to be at fault for my husband and I having to come back to live with your mom and dad. So what makes you think you have the right to say things like that to me?
Huh? I'm also at fault for that?
When your dad had that bad fall and needed more people to come take care of him, you just kept on making excuses so that you never had to move back in with your parents or help your dad out. And then you just stopped talking to your mom and dad completely for a few months. That's why your brother and I ended up having to move back here and help take care of your mom and dad. Yet now you're going to start making the claim that we're only here for your parents' money? That's very screwed up of you, Nora.
I never ran away from them. At the time, I really did have a lot going on. I was thinking the moment things calmed down for me, I'd go see my mom and dad and help out.
But it's almost been 2 years now, and there's not been a single day where you've come to help us out. You've been that busy?
That's right, I have been that busy. I've been home taking care of my husband, who is always having to travel for work. But I never once thought that my dad would get better sooner than I would be able to get some free time. I had wanted to help him out so badly. I am happy he's doing better again, but I also feel a little left out.
The only reason he got better so soon is because your mom and I did so well supporting and caring for him.
Huh? Caring for him? All you did was go over to their house to live there. I'm sure the only caring you ever did there was when my mom yelled at you to get off your butt and help out.
What did you say?
Well, I'm sorry to say, but you're not allowed to sit around at my parents' house any longer. Starting now, I'm coming back to live with them before I give birth to my first baby. And then once I have my baby, it will be their first grandchild, and they'll never bother with you or my brother ever again. That will be the end of you trying to usurp the throne and take all my parents' money.
Huh?
There's no reason you should be able to live with your in-laws any longer. I honestly thought that the moment my dad got better and no longer needed any help, my mom would have kicked you out of there. Yet for some reason, you've become good friends with my mom. I was starting to get worried that you'd be able to live there with my parents forever. But as you'll see, I'll get my way and be able to live in that house with them because both my parents would rather have their actual daughter living with them. Especially when she's so cute and is about to give them a grandbaby. I'm just going to have to remind them of who I am compared to you is all.
Wait a second. Are you trying to tell me the real reason you're coming home to live with your parents is because you've been afraid of me living with your parents for the rest of their lives?
I'm not just afraid of you living with them forever, but you getting a hold of their money after they pass away. I'm sure you thought that by going to them while my dad was in trouble, they would feel indebted to you and would later give you their money, right? Well, I'm not going to allow that to happen. After having my cute little baby around them, they will notice who really deserves to inherit all their things. They will want to give all their money and everything to me after I show them a beautiful little grandchild.
Your brother and I have never cared about what we've been inheriting from your parents. We just moved in with your parents because your mom needed help taking care of your dad.
Well, they don't need your help anymore, so you should be fine leaving their house for good, right? However, you are continuing to use my mom against me by having her say no to kicking you both out, and that's pissing me off. You are just continuing to ignore what I tell you, even though I'm the one carrying a baby. Also that you can keep living with my parents and get everything from them. This is all because you want their money, their house, and everything else they'll leave in the will.
Why do you think that's the case?
Well, you guys are doing everything in order to stay in their house, and that's because all you can think about is my parents' money, right? However, I'm not letting you guys get anything from them. Not only will I be completely stressed out by having some dirty, germ-ridden woman living in the same house as me, but I'll be scared of whatever else you might end up doing to me. I want the money-stealing, parasitic, house-squatting witch to get out of that house right now. Then we'll be leaving this house as well. What? I never thought that the goal for you coming home to us pregnant would be that. You think that by showing us a cute little grandchild we'll give you all our money after we pass away? Who the hell would want to take care of some selfish little baby of a daughter like that while she gives birth to a child? If you really want to be in our house that badly before you give birth, then go right ahead and live there all by yourself. But while you're around, your father and I are going to leave the place and find somewhere else to stay. Your father and I? What? Is that really you, Mom? Why are you talking to me all of a sudden? That's because I'm here with my precious little Abigail right now. And as I've been here with her, she's looked so upset as she looked at her phone, typing away on it. I was worried about what was going on there, so I ran over and had a look for myself at what she was reading. What? And lo and behold, I had to see my daughter trying to kick my daughter-in-law out of my house once again. I've had enough of that rude behavior you love to cling on to. If that's how you're going to act at that age, then your father and I are leaving this house with Abigail as well. Enjoy supporting yourself in this empty house just before giving birth. Huh? I would never come back to your guys' house to be cared for if neither of you are going to even be there. You and Dad have to be there to care for this baby and I.
Is that right? We have to care for our daughter, who never bothered to come back home and care for her father while he was injured? You can't help but run away from caring for others, but the moment you need help, you expect everyone to just stick around? We really messed up when we raised such a self-centered daughter, didn't we?
Wait, about that.
For a while now, your father and I have been suspicious of you, Nora. The moment you graduated high school, you just left the house without telling anyone. And when it came time for you to get married, you didn't tell any of your family and just went ahead and handed in the paperwork. When you suddenly came out of nowhere after all these years of avoiding us and asked to come home to have your baby, we knew something was up. And guess what? The only reason you want to come home and have us care for you while you're pregnant is so that you can get closer to our money. Your father and I are disheartened by that.
Disinherited about what? Why would you feel that way about me? The only reason I brought up your guys' money was as a joke. A joke, all right? It was a way of trying to mess with Abigail a little bit, perhaps. So, would you stop worrying about that? Just look forward to me coming home and caring for me. I'm sure both you and Dad want to see your daughter and the grandchild she'll be giving you both, right?
Nope, not at all. We don't ever want to meet either of you, nor even see you. We don't care anymore about some witch who thinks she could kick out two very important people in our family like you were doing.
Huh? Abigail isn't a part of our family. She's just some stranger that your no-good son brought in. Why are you on her side still calling her important?
Nora, the only stranger right now would be you. You got married to another man and took his name, giving up the place you once had here.
What?
Asking our daughter-in-law to leave our house when you're not even our daughter anymore is a bit ridiculous. Remember back when you got married? You told your father and I that you were with his family and would no longer need anything from us again, right? So please go and ask his parents to take care of you as you have that baby.
That's...
And when it comes to Abigail, she chose to be a part of our family here, so she is the most important person to us right now. She might not be related to us by blood, but she's married to our son, making her our daughter. We feel it's like we traded one daughter for another back when she married your brother. That's the reason why I love having her live here with us and will do anything for her. We've both done very well living in this house together, and she never seems to be upset by anything we do. But then there's you, who seems to think they can just barge back into our house after being away for so long and kick out our precious little girl.
What is this? Why are you upset at me? I may have gotten married, but I'm still your guys' daughter.
Well, we don't want a daughter that calls another part of the family parasites and tells them to leave. I want you to become well aware of just how much of an idiot you are after today. Abigail, I am so sorry about what happened with Nora yesterday.
Don't be sorry for that. Seeing you get that upset with her was more than enough. Also, hearing her talk about how much you think of me as your true daughter made me so happy. But what are we going to do from here on out? I really feel like it would be best if we stopped living with the both of you.
Well, about that, Abigail, you really don't have to leave the house. My husband and I will be the ones leaving instead.
What?
Oh, but that will only be for a little bit. You'll see. I talked with him about what to do after we had to tell Nora goodbye. And, well, we'd both love to get away for a bit to somewhere nice and warm. So we're thinking of getting a place down in Florida.
Florida?
My husband was talking to his work about how he'd like to retire soon. And after an hour of talking, they settled on him retiring next year with a pretty decent package. So, since we'll be getting a few more months before the official retirement date, we were thinking we'd take things easy. You know, get a breather or two in before the next big move. And, well, that led to us thinking a trip in Florida at a condo would be really nice.
That sounds like a wonderful plan. You both have done a lot in your life, and I feel like you deserve a couple months down there taking things slowly. I think you both made the perfect choice right here.
We had actually been thinking about this for a little bit now. With Nora trying to force her way back into the family, we thought it might be better to just move away for those few months to Florida so that we could avoid her.
I see.
But now that it seems she won't be a problem for us anymore, you can go ahead and enjoy our house while we have fun in the warm sun. This will also give you and our son some time to think about what the both of you want to do next.
Are you talking about us choosing whether or not we want to continue living with you both, or getting our own place again?
That's right. If you'd like to stop living here in our house, then you'll have to prepare quite a few things in order to move out, right? You'll have to find a new home and get ready to pack all your things up. I think all that would go a lot more smoothly if my husband and I were out of the house for a while.
Thank you so much for thinking about the both of us as well, but the both of us would love to continue living with you guys. So you really don't need to worry about us any longer and can go enjoy the next few months you have in Florida.
What? So you both really want to continue living with us?
Of course we do. If anything, I should be the one asking you to continue letting us live in your house, right?
Oh, you don't have to ask me for that. I'm so happy to hear that from you. We'll be able to continue on with the life we've all been living here.
We'll be waiting for you two to come back home while you're out of the state. Now please enjoy that condo you both get, and take all the time you need to unwind.
What is going on here? Did my mom and dad really leave their house?
What?
I was thinking now was the time to forcefully get myself into that house and have them care for me and the baby. Yet after opening up the door, it really looks like they both got up and left this house for good. Hey, do you have any idea where they ran off to?
Your mom and dad are in Florida right now. To get away from you while you're going completely insane, they left town and went to spend some time on a condo there.
Huh? They're in Florida?
Your brother and I have also taken a few days off to come here with them, although we'll be coming back soon and getting back to work. Your parents, however, will be here for the next few months, taking it easy and avoiding you.
You guys are with them right now, then?
After they got here and found their condo, they invited us to come down as well. It's been a while since we've all gotten to spend time on vacation, so my husband and I packed our things and took off the next day. They're even paying for a whole trip here as a thank you for always being around them.
So you're all in Florida right now? I came all the way to this house to have my baby, though.
Well, thank God we left yesterday to make it here. Had we run into you before we were able to get to Florida, things would have been a lot more difficult for us.
What the hell? You come back here right now and take care of me. I don't even care about my mom and dad anymore. I want you here doing everything for me.
There's no way I can make it back there right now, and honestly, I don't want to. I'd rather not take care of someone who's sick like you are.
Shut the hell up. You really think you can turn away your sister-in-law like that? I will not let you talk to me like that again.
Then what about your own mother telling you to F off?
What?
My cute little daughter is not going home for you, and she most definitely will not be caring for your lazy butt. You really are such a failed child. I guess you didn't learn a damn thing since the last time we talked.
Why are you here again? Why are you always on her side? I told you already that everything about your money was all a joke. I just wanted to come home to you guys and have my baby. I just wanted for you and Dad to take good care of me and the baby once it's born.
No matter what you try and say to me now, all I hear is you whining about how you want your parents' money and labor. But luckily, your father and I have made our choice. We will never be going back to do anything for you ever again.
No way!
Now, we have a boat to ride. I would really like that you stopped getting in the way of my family's fun trip here in Florida.
I heard that after Hazel told Nora to F off, she ended up leaving her parents' house and going back to her own house. When she made it back there, her husband then recommended that she go stay with his parents instead. Then he wouldn't have to worry about her and could continue with his business trips. After that, he then took her with him back to his parents' house to drop her off before going back home. Nora never said anything against going to have the baby at his parents' house, and so she stayed there all the way up until after she gave birth. As for Hazel and her husband, they ended up sending a letter to Nora's husband's parents saying that they were thankful for taking on Nora like that. They also sent a box of treats from Florida as a way of showing just how thankful they really were. I'm not sure how Nora will take seeing her parents send her husband's parents a whole thing of snacks as thanks for taking care of her, but I'm sure someday we'll hear about the reaction. When it comes to my husband and myself, just a week after arriving down in Florida to spend time with his parents, we headed back home so that we could get back to work. At first, we were a bit worried to find out if Nora had left the house in a state of chaos after she went in there looking for her parents, but it was actually left pretty clean. That was unexpected for the both of us, considering Nora has always acted like a selfish child. But I suppose that final blow from Hazel really shut her down. Let's just hope that by the time Hazel and her husband are back there, Nora doesn't do anything else to us. Although that probably won't ever happen again since Nora's in-laws have her in their hands now.